Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Middleton Common Council. Today is April 1st. It is election day, and I do want to say a special, I'd say the president and I would, and all of council would like to say a special thank you to all our volunteers working the polls, to the staff who have been working with for weeks on this, and we appreciate all of our residents who have taken time to vote. Did I miss anything?
No, good job.
Great. Welcome. This is the Middleton Common Council, and we're going to go ahead and call it to order and requesting assistance on roll call.
Yes, Alder Schaefer.
Here.
Alder Madden.
Here.
Alder Kalish.
Here.
Mayor Kuhn.
Here.
Alder Nelson.
Here.
Alder Hanairo.
Here.
Alder Lorman.
Here.
Alder Crow.
Here.
And Alder Jackson is absent.
Thank you. Moving on to public comments. I'll call Abby to.
Hello, Abby Attune, Director of Planning and Community Development for the city. I just wanted to share with the council that I just got back from the National Planning Association Conference today, where we had about 50 Wisconsin planners that traveled to Denver, and we had about a total of 6,000 planners from across the country. I learned a lot, but there is one experience that I wanted to share in particular with the mayor and the council tonight, that I attended a session called Local Programming, Generational Divide, Build Your Youth Engagement Toolkit, where there was a park planner from Denver and a city planner from Salt Lake City, and they were sharing best practices in how you can get more youth involvement with planning projects in your community. And at the end of the session, they opened it up for examples of how communities are doing ongoing engagement with youth. And I was able to share the mayor and council's initiative to include a high school student representative on several of our city committees, including the Sustainability Committee, Public Arts Committee, Ped Bike Transit Committee, and Workforce Housing Committee. And what ended up happening is I kind of hijacked the session because there was so much interest from other planners in that initiative. There were about 100 different cities represented, and none of them had anything like that in their community. And I ended up getting a lot of questions about what the application process looks like, how we advertise to high school representatives, how the applications are vetted, and how it has contributed to different initiatives that the city is doing. And actually at the end of it, a representative of the American Planning Association invited the city of Middleton to present on that initiative at MPC 2026, which is going to be held in Detroit in about a year. So I just wanted to share that. It was not a staff initiative. That was very much something that the elected officials championed. So if there's anyone who wants to kind of follow up on that and maybe help out with that presentation, just let me know individually. Thank you.
Yes. Bravo. So glad you represented us well. Thank you so much.
Next up is Charles Myers. Charles, if you don't mind, just give us your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes.
My name is Charles Myers. I live at 7007 Century Avenue here in Middleton. And the spelling of my last name is M-Y-E-R-S. I am here to speak about the hiring in the Public Works Department. All 3 names on our agenda. And I am very strongly in support of all 3. We are lucky to have public servants like Ben, Luke, and Brad, who are going to step in and try to fill the enormous shoes of Sean, who will be leaving us. He's getting the ultimate compliment, really. 2 people and a promotion to replace him. But we are very lucky to have Ben, Luke, and Brad. And I hope the council approves their appointments tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak this evening? Is there anyone online who would like to speak?
There is no one online that's indicated they'd like to speak.
Great, thank you.
Moving on to proclamations, I'm going to ask the chief to step forward. And Alder Kalish, I know you're on public safety, so if you're working together, please do so. Thank you.
Yes, I just want to make a few brief comments in support of this very important proclamation that is about to be read. In public safety, our lifeline is our telecommunicators, our dispatch. They're a wonderful group of people. It's a beautiful family there. But their importance to officers that go out in the field is integral for us to do police work in a safe way. And I want to take some time to recognize them today and thank the Common Council and the City of Middleton for showing the respect that these people deserve. I think it is tremendous to have that support tonight. And I'm proud to be here with our dispatch supervisor, Keith Cleesby, representing his dispatch family. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Kalish.
All right. National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, April 13th through 19th, 2025. Whereas the Middleton Police Department Communications Center plays a vital role in the protection of human life and property in our community. And whereas telecommunicators of the Middleton Police Department endure long hours, abnormal work schedules, and handle frequent life and death emergencies while achieving high standards in performing their duties in a dedicated, diligent, and compassionate manner. And whereas the safety of our police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from people who contact the Middleton Police Department Communications Center. And whereas telecommunicators are the initial first responders to every call and often the first critical contact that residents and visitors to Middleton have with emergency services. And whereas staff of the Middleton Police Department Communications Center have a combined total of 108 years of service to the Middleton community. And whereas each member of the Communications Center has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. And whereas our public safety communications personnel serve the public 24 hours a day, 365 days a year in countless ways, oftentimes without due recognition by those who receive their services. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the City of Middleton declares the week of April 13th through April 19th, 2025, to be National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in the City of Middleton in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and residents safe. This proclamation was adopted at a regular meeting of the Middleton Common Council on the first day of April 2025.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion, Kalish.
Is the- is-
will second.
Any comments? We'll just say thank you to all of them. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes unanimously. Should we go do a picture, Alder? Let's go to the front. We'll let them get on with their works. We all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, moving on to the proclamation recognizing the Friends of Pheasant Branch Conservancy for securing a DNR Aquatic Invasive Species Grant. Whereas the City of Middleton values the preservation, protection, and enhancement of our natural resources, including the vital ecosystems of the Pheasant Branch Conservancy, and whereas the Friends of Pheasant Branch Conservancy have demonstrated exceptional dedication and leadership in environmental stewardship, habitat restoration, and community engagement in the protection of the Conservancy's waterways. And whereas the Friends of Pheasant Branch Conservancy successfully pursued and secured a surface water grant from the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, a highly competitive process in which 418 applications were submitted with only $6 million available in state funding. And whereas this grant will support efforts to combat aquatic invasive species, restore and protect water quality, and ensure the long-term sustainability of the Pheasant Branch watershed for future generations. And whereas the Friends of Pheasant Branch Conservancy continue to be a trusted partner in conservation efforts, fostering public awareness and participation in environmental protection initiatives. Now therefore, I, Emily Kuhn, Mayor of the City of Middleton, on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of Middleton, do hereby recognize and commend the Friends of Pheasant Branch Conservancy for their outstanding commitment to the preservation of our natural resources and congratulate them on receiving this prestigious grant. This proclamation was adopted at a regular meeting of the Middleton Common Council on the first day of April 2025. Is there a motion?
Lorman will make that motion.
Is there a second?
This is an Ira, I'll second.
Any comments? We'll say congratulations to them as well. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Okay, and I don't think anyone's here from that group to receive this. Okay, we'll make sure they get a copy. Moving on to the proclaiming April 6th through the 12th, 2025 as National Library Week. And I'm going to ask Alder Crow to take that.
Actually, Library Director Jocelyn Sansing will say a couple words first.
Wonderful, thank you.
Hello, here we are again, another annual National Library Week. I can't think of a better time than once a year during this week to take pause and be grateful for the wonderful public service that we offer Middleton residents and beyond with our wonderful public library. So to proclaim that here tonight, I would love to introduce two of our trustees. Mary Beth Palisi and Jean Phillips, along with, of course, Alder Crow. Thank you.
National Library Week, April 6th through 12th, 2025. Whereas the Middleton Public Library sparks creativity, fuels imagination, and inspires lifelong learning for all ages. And whereas the Middleton Public Library serves as a vibrant community hub, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering civic engagement. And whereas the Middleton Public Library provides free and equitable access to books, digital tools, spaces to reserve, and programming for all residents. And whereas the Middleton Public Library partners with local schools, businesses, organizations, and individuals to maximize resources and strengthen our community.
And whereas the Middleton Public Library empowers job seekers and entrepreneurs while nurturing young minds through story times, STEAM programs, and literacy initiatives. And whereas the Middleton Public Library is launching its first ever bookmobile service with a kickoff celebration on April 12, 2025. And whereas the Middleton Public Library protects the right to read and explore without censorship, championing intellectual freedom, and whereas dedicated library staff and volunteers provide welcoming spaces that inspire discovery and creativity.
And whereas the Middleton Public Library joins libraries nationwide to celebrate National Library Week under the theme Drawn to the Library. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Middleton and Mayor Kuhn hereby proclaim April 6th through 12th, 2025 as National Library Week in Middleton, Wisconsin. All are encouraged to visit their library, explore its resources, attend the bookmobile cook-off, and celebrate how our library draws us together. This proclamation was adopted at a regular meeting of the Middleton Common Council on the first day of April 2025.
Is there a motion?
I'd like to make that motion.
Is there a second?
Schaefer will second.
Any comments?
I'll just, if I could, I'll just point out too that library services as well as museums are part of some federal moves to restrict funding. And that it's important that our nationally elected or our statewide representatives in National Congress hear what we think of our library. So, and this week is a good week to do that.
All those in favor of approving the proclamation, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you for all that you guys do. A lot of things going on. Libraries. We love our libraries, so thank you, everyone. Moving on to the consent agenda, is there a motion?
This is Haniro. I move approval of the consent agenda, noting that item 3 is pending city attorney review and approval.
Norman, I'll second that.
Excellent. Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, noting that item number 3 is pending city attorney review and approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to miscellaneous, and I know that the staff is here if we have questions, so much appreciated. The first number is number 1, consideration and recommendation of appointment of Benjamin John to the position of Director of Public Works. Is
Madam,
there a motion?
this is Haniro. I move to appoint Benjamin John to the position of Director of Public Works.
Norman, I'll second that.
Any comments?
Just FYI to the council, this is a position that we need to vote on and it has to pass by a 2/3 vote. I see no problem with that happening, so.
Excellent. Moving to the vote. All those in favor of approving Benjamin John to the position of Director of Public Works, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, sir.
Welcome.
Moving on to number 2, consideration and recommendation of appointment of Luke T. Melotic, PE, to the position of City Engineer, Stormwater Utility Manager. Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, in this case, this is simply informational. It is not a department head appointment, so it does not need an appointment or motion by the council.
Much appreciated. In that case, does staff want to make a quick comment as to Mr. Melotic's background, as he will be serving as Stormwater Utility Manager?
Yeah, we were very lucky for Luke to apply and accept a position with us. We went with great trepidation into hiring the city engineer and stormwater utility manager, an extremely big job that we have not filled before. Luke comes to us with a professional engineering certificate and with experience in stormwater management. So a fantastic fit. And we were exceptionally lucky to have had him come to join the organization.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Moving on to number 3, consideration and recommendation to reclassify Brad Hopwood from Operations Manager to Assistant Director of Public Works. And I'm going to look to, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Is there a motion?
Yes, I move to create the position of Assistant Director of Public Works and make the non-competitive appointment of Brad Hopwood, our current Operations Manager, into that new position.
Thorman will second that.
Any comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the motion to create the position of Assistant Director of Public Works and non-competitively, is it appoint? Brad Hopwood to the position, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to number 4, the Community of Bishops Bay proposed master plan amendment and corporate boundary adjustment. Is there a motion?
This is Alder Crow. I'd like to make a motion regarding this. I move, and it's up on the screens if you wanted to see it, because it's kind of a little bit wordy. So,
Like
just so
this.
that you guys know what we're talking about.
I can see it. This is good. Go ahead.
I move that the council endorse option 2 as outlined in the Middleton Westport Joint Zoning Committee meeting of March 19, 2025, with the understanding that this action is intended to guide the preparation of comprehensive update of the master development plan, as well as initiate the steps necessary to adjust the shared municipal boundary with the necessary approvals from the Middleton Plan Commission and Common Council.
Is there a second?
Schaefer seconds.
Any comments? Hearing.
And I can answer questions about this if you want. This is over in the Bishops Bay development in my district, so I followed this a little bit. I did not attend the joint zoning meeting, but I've read through the minutes, discussed it with staff. So,
I understand it was a 5-0 vote of those who were there, yeah.
yeah.
Great point.
Yeah.
So sounds like solid support.
I know there were issues and it was nice to see them solid in that vote.
And that's really nice. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Oh golly, it was option 2, is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay, in approving option 2, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And thank you for representing that district, sir. Moving on to ordinances, first reading. And I did notice on this one, staff comments had a request in there, so keep an eye on that. The ordinance to repeal and recreate the floodplain zoning ordinance, known as Chapter 24.
This is an IRO. I move to suspend the rules.
Is there a second?
Madden will second.
Okay. Any comments?
Just a question. I got some comments on this from some constituents asking what the impacts of their property might, oh, sorry.
Hold that part.
Oh.
Good question or good comment. Hold that part. This is just on the one-time reading.
Oh, gotcha.
So, and then we'll flip to that part, okay? But I love someone who's excited to talk floodplains. Who knew? All those in favor of, Callie, help me for a second.
Suspending the rules.
Thank you. Please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. So that is just on the suspending of the rules. Now moving back to the ordinance to repeal and recreate the floodplain zoning ordinance. Is there a motion?
This is an IRO. I move approval of the ordinance to repeal and recreate the floodplain zoning ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Madden will second.
Okay. And then I will recognize Alder Kalish who had comments. So go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, so I got some questions from constituents about this one, about how this would potentially impact their property, primarily from insurance perspective, but, and I know that's a really hard question to answer because it's, every property is different. But regarding that in general, and excuse me if I missed it, but are there maps identifying what the existing designations are and what the new designations will be so that people could at least see what new designation they will be in for more information regarding this potential agenda item?
That's a very good question. I do see that this city planner Marco Pitts is on the line. So
Yes, Alder, thank you for that question. If you can go to the third page of the ordinance, please. And I'm sorry, I don't know what page that is in the packet, but it's the ordinance itself. There's 2 pages of table of contents. And then on page 3 is the official map reference, and it cites the panel numbers, which are just existing panel numbers. So there's no change to the flood insurance rate map panel numbers. It's just referencing the existing ones. The reason why we are doing the ordinance amendment is, or the repealing and recreating the ordinance, is because the DNR gave us some guidance last year that in fact, let me look for the language here that I had. Sorry, I'm doing this on one computer and I'm used to multiple screens, and so I'm trying to get back to where I was. So the DNR floodplain staff liaison, the floodplain program at DNR, to address updates from the FEMA made to the flood insurance maps. And so they actually had a template that they worked on with numerous communities, including Middleton. And so we worked with them to make sure that the ordinance complies with the language that they require. So, but it's not changing any of the floodplain status for any of your residents in any of your districts. To the best of my understanding, that's my understanding from this process.
okay, I apologize. I'm taking notes because I had received some questions as well. So
Sorry, I took my screen off.
Alder Kalish, thank you for sharing those comments from your constituents. Alder Schaefer?
Yeah, I had 2 questions, and Mark, you answered one, because I really wasn't sure what was wrong with the old one and why we were doing a new one, because there was nothing in our documentation that said, here's what we've changed or anything. But I'm looking at page 3 where it talks about the maps, and I don't see a link to those maps that you were talking about. Or is it the underline under A official maps?
Page 3 that was on the screen a moment ago.
Yeah,
So yeah, there's not a link per se. It's just they're referenced by the panel numbers. They're unique panel numbers for every map in the country. So those just refer to make sure that those maps remain adopted by the city's floodplain ordinance as the official maps governing floodplain regulations. And so there's not, I'm sorry?
Is there a way for us to see those maps?
I can try and pull one up here quickly.
I don't need to now, but at some point I would like to go back. If there's no change, I don't think there's a hurry, but I would like.
There's no change affecting anyone's property in the city. I can see if I can, I'm sorry, I should have thought to have had that map available or give you an excerpt of it.
I think I was looking this weekend and there was a link to the FEMA map. It
Yeah.
wasn't easy to navigate, and I definitely couldn't do it on my phone. So it was one of those, like, we had to sit with a laptop. And my concern was a little bit of the business park, which I think is maybe in Alder Jackson's district, but it might be part of yours with Greenway Station and that way. And then Alder Madden, I know you have the ponds.
Well, I think Mark has tacitly agreed to send me a link as an email.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now. I had a memo on this, which maybe that was in the Planning Commission packet. I don't see it here. I had a document that had the link. Maybe that was just an internal working document, but I'm sorry that I didn't include that in the packet.
All right, any help you could give would be appreciated.
Okay.
Well, and if I may add some clarification from Eric Sorensen's memo to the Water Resources Management Commission when we considered this. He said Wisconsin DNR is requiring an update to our local floodplain zoning ordinance, chapter 24. This is being required of all Dane County communities and is not related to our ongoing flood remapping project, although we have to go through the same process if and when we're ready to adopt our new flood maps. So.
I appreciate that background. So do we think that's in the next year? for those new maps or,
It depends.
okay, that sounds good. More information coming, but for now, it sounds like it's the old maps, and FEMA's useful. But I look forward to learning about more flood maps, always exciting things. Okay, so
We
I
can
think,
flood you with information if you'd like.
okay,
Great.
I'm gonna call the vote. All those in favor of approving the ordinance to repeal and recreate the floodplain zoning ordinance, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mark, for joining us. Ordinance's second reading, an ordinance to amend sections 21.012G and 21.022G of the Middleton General Ordinances regarding city vehicles in parks and conservancies. Is there a motion?
This is Madden. I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Nelson will second.
Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the ordinance, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to an ordinance to amend section 26 of the Middleton General Ordinances related to stormwater regulations relating to fee in lieu requirements. Is there a motion?
This is Nairo. I move approval.
Is there a second?
Madden will second.
Any comments?
Just a
Alder
question.
Collins?
We talked about this at the last city council meeting, and so I'm just wondering what has changed or what's the addition? What is what is different?
It's just a second reading.
So it's just a second reading. Oh, gotcha. Okay,
No changes.
thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the ordinance to amend section 26 of the Middleton General Ordinances related to stormwater regulations relating to fee in lieu requirements, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right.
Motion passes 6-1. Moving on to resolutions, resolutions 2025-18, accepting easement agreement to enable construction of West Mendota Path, east side of Allen Boulevard. Is there a motion?
Schaefer will move.
Norman will second.
Okay, any comments? I'm just gonna say I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I
it's been a
think
while.
we've been waiting for a while. Yes, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to discussion of any updates on committees, commissions, and boards by council members and mayor. Any updates? Walter Schaefer?
I didn't get to say this last time, but sustainability committee met and they decided on giving 6 sustainability awards. But that was all the awards that people put in, which were not enough. So the message from the committee was to please make a plea to the council members that if every one of you could just come up with even one nominee, that would give us more than we had for this entire thing. It's important and they're good. So I just want to pass that message.
And how do we,
Yeah, give us a heads up.
how do we send where do we send it to?
Word will come out about 2 months before the awards, which will be probably in January. So you should get just like a broadcast email or something, but I will make sure when it's that point that you all know.
Sounds great. We'll be on top of it next
Good,
year.
thank you. That would be helpful. It's an important committee and it's important awards.
Thank you for sharing that.
Just so you know, we had made an amendment that before it was restricted to non-employees of the city. But we made a change that allowed us to consider at least one of the awards was to city staff. So I think
That's very sweet. Thank you for sharing that.
I have a couple of updates. One, the Ped Bike and Transit Committee will be meeting on Thursday, and one of our agenda items is to discuss the proposed ordinance change to our liaison relationship with Public Works. I know that Public Works had some concerns about the timing. So we're going to be brainstorming ideas to share with, I guess, L&O. The Plan Commission will be having a hearing on the proposed changes to the zoning code. This is the first, minor update of the zoning code now that we've had some time to actually put it into practice. That's going to be April 22nd, I believe, if I'm mistaken. Abby, it's the 22nd? Okay, thank you. And then just a couple of dates that I want to get on people's calendars. First, on May 14th, the Dane County Cities and Villages Association will be having their annual meeting in Cottage Grove at it's the 1855 Saloon and Grill, starting at 5:30, ending at 7:30. I'll be going and I'd be happy to carpool with anybody who would like to attend. There's no charge to attend. And on Friday, May 30th, I think everybody got a message from Smart Growth Greater Madison. This is a Friday workshop from 9 to 3 about the housing development process, including financing, and just it's going to explore things like multifamily, single family, and affordable housing. So I encourage members to try to attend that if they can. And then thinking ahead to 2 weeks from today, when we have the swearing in of a new the odd numbered alders. Our tradition is to go to the village green afterwards. So I hope people will mark their calendars and that Brian will be able to do a post of a notice of potential quorum. So thanks.
Maybe I'll add to that, if possible, a shorter agenda. So it
We'll
has
see.
to be long, it has to be long, but that way we have more time to celebrate.
Pretty well.
Thanks, I tried. Any other committees? Sounds like we all need to make sure we celebrate that new bookmobile. I think it's April 12th. I will be out of the city, so I will miss it. I hope you all get to partake and enjoy that. And I look to Alder Crow
Well,
too.
And I was going to mention that again, keep mentioning it, but it is kind of a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's behind the library in the parking lot across the railroad tracks, but there'll be things going on in the library that day as well. So
Oh,
And it goes
fun.
from 10 to 2
10 to 2. People get a chance to be on it. So
on the calendar.
I'm so excited. I know we're just gonna have to go visit it when it goes to the parks or wherever it goes to visit on a routine basis. So this summer I'll catch it.
it will be out.
It will be out and about. Fantastic. That's awesome. Any other committees? I think we're all caught up. With that, we're gonna go ahead and adjourn. Everyone, thank you for your time and have a great night.